Being Christian is actually really hard to do because you're going against the grain.
In today's video, we are going to discuss why being a Christian is so hard.
Okay, one of the hardest parts about being a Christian, being a child of God, being whatever, however you want to say it, is watching people that you know and love and care for, like, fall away from it. And knowing, like, in your heart, the only thing you can really do is pray for this person. Because there's only so much you can say. There's only so much you can do. And if this person is choosing to walk away or starting to fall away, like, I would love to be like, no, you can bring him back to Jesus. And sometimes maybe that's the case, but oftentimes it's something that they have to deal with God. Like, God has to take care of it. You can't really do anything.
Being a Christian isn't easy. And if someone told you it would be, they weren't telling you the whole truth. For some people, following Jesus feels like swimming upstream in a world that's moving fast in the opposite direction. It can be lonely, confusing, even painful at times. And many Christians quietly ask themselves a question they're afraid to say out loud. Why does this feel so hard? Today we're going to talk honestly about that. Not to discourage you, but to remind you that you're not alone. One reason it's hard to be a Christian is because the values of faith often clash with the values of the world. Jesus calls his followers to humility in a culture that rewards pride, to self-control in a culture driven by desire, to forgiveness in a culture that celebrates revenge. That tension can make Christians feel out of place, at work, online, even within their own families. Choosing faith can mean choosing a different path, and that path isn't always applauded. Sometimes it's criticized, sometimes it's mocked, and sometimes it's simply misunderstood. Let's examine the Bible verse, Matthew 7:13-14. It states, "Enter through the narrow gate. For wide is the gate, and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate, and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it." The narrow gate and way represents a demanding, intentional life of faith, obedience to God, and following Jesus, which may not be popular or easy. The wide gate and road represents an easy, permissive, and popular way of life that ultimately leads to destruction. The choice. Jesus emphasizes that the path to eternal life requires effort and focus, and it is often overlooked or avoided by the majority. Context. This passage is found near the end of the Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus challenges listeners to take action regarding his teachings.
I pray so often, but I just don't get the answers I'm hoping for. I'm really struggling with my faith right now.
Another reason Christianity is hard is because faith doesn't come with all the answers up front. Christians are asked to trust God even when prayers feel unanswered, to believe he's good even when life hurts, and to follow him even when the road ahead isn't clear. That kind of trust goes against our desire for control. We want certainty. We want timelines. We want explanations. But faith often means walking forward without seeing the full picture, and that can feel scary and frustrating.
It's just so hard to stay faithful as a Christian in this world, man. I really struggle with it.
I know, brother. But we got to remember where our strength comes from.
A hard truth is that becoming a Christian doesn't suddenly make someone perfect. Christians still struggle with doubt, still wrestle with temptation, still fall short of who they want to be. That internal conflict can be exhausting, wanting to live differently but feeling pulled by old habits and weaknesses. Many believers carry guilt and shame because they think they should be better by now. But following Jesus isn't about instant perfection. It's about ongoing transformation, and growth is rarely comfortable. For many Christians, the journey can feel lonely. Friends may drift away, beliefs may create distance in relationships, and sometimes even churches can feel disappointing or hurtful. There are believers sitting in pews every week who feel unseen, unheard, and misunderstood. Loving God doesn't guarantee that people will love you back, and that reality can weigh heavily on the heart. Jesus didn't call his followers to an easy kind of love. He called them to love enemies, to forgive deeply, to serve quietly, to put others first. That kind of love goes against human instinct. It requires humility, patience, and sacrifice, especially when it's undeserved. Living that out daily is challenging, and sometimes it feels unfair, but it's also where faith becomes most powerful. So why is it hard to be a Christian? Because faith is real, because growth stretches us, because love costs something. But here's the quiet truth. The very things that make Christianity hard are also what make it meaningful. If you're struggling, doubting, or tired, you're not failing. You're walking the same road countless believers have walked before you, and you're not walking it alone.